Happy Tuesday, everybody, and welcome back to Pardon Me While I Elevate. I took a week off and I really missed it, so I'm very glad to be back. Last week I was so sick, crazy sick. Not really sure how I got it or what it was, but you can still hear it a little bit in my voice. So I'm almost there, but well enough to do the podcast this week, which I'm very grateful for. So, changing scene a little bit just to get a little more creative for this one. But the week off has given me a lot of time to think and, think about the things that I have yet to talk about with you guys and things that I still, want to touch on before I kind of jump to other segments of this podcast that I have intended to do. And one of the things that I've noticed along the topics that I've chosen to talk about so far is a lot of them, groups of the topics that I've talked about have a lot to do with each other. They're very, very similar topics. Even though they're slightly different, they're sort of along the same lines. And that is really great. I intended it that way. But also there's a lot of room for like totally new topics and totally new things to come in the future. So I just wanted to just remind everybody that those things are coming as well. But there are so many pieces of this puzzle of entrepreneurship, from working in corporate or working for a big company all the way along the routes to getting to entrepreneurship if that's what you want, and succeeding in entrepreneurship and finding your alignment and your purpose and like all these things, right? I think that a lot of the times people, especially entrepreneurs that have sort of already gotten ground underneath them, they kind of can make it seem like it's not that big of a deal, or it's like not that challenging, even though they say things like, oh, it was so hard, or it challenged me a lot. It's sort of hard to understand what that really feels like until it's you, right? Like, especially if you aren't an entrepreneur and you've never like kind of gone that route before. It's like you can hear somebody say it's hard, but it's like you don't actually know the real journey or how it really feels until you are the one doing it and you are the one going through it. And I think that the reason that I'm like harping on these little concepts or having some of my topics be very related to each other is so that we can just really like absorb these concepts, because as we move along to this entrepreneurship journey, these things are very real, and sometimes people forget about them, or sometimes, like I've been saying a million times, they get deprioritized, or whatever. People just want to kind of get to a place where they're comfortable before they have to worry about all the other things. So today, like last episode, I'm going to introduce something, but it's not too different. So instead of focusing on alignment, which is mostly what I talked about last episode, this week I'm going to talk about purpose. So again, these things, they can fall under the same kind of category of things that you have to think about when you're on these paths, but purpose is very, very individual, just the same way alignment is. But alignment itself is the same feeling for everybody. Like when you're in alignment, you're doing the thing for yourself, you feel like it's meant to be. You feel like you're on the right track and things are going to align for you. Things are going to come to you, and the universe is going to meet you halfway, whereas purpose is very, very, very individual. And every single person in this whole universe has a purpose. And our purposes are all super different from one another. Even if you are doing the same exact thing as somebody else, your purpose, your way of getting there or doing this thing is going to be very, very different than the next person. And a lot of the times I hear people say to me, and hear it on like podcasts and interviews and stuff like that, like the first thought in my head when I had this idea was like, there are a million people doing that. There's a flooded market of people that are doing the thing that I want to do or that I feel good at. And so why would I enter into that space if there's already so many people doing it? Like, I'm not going to get the recognition that I want, or I'm not going to get the money that I want, or like whatever it is that you want out of it, because the market is so flooded. And what I want to just hammer in is that when you think like this, you have already identified other people in your space as competitors. And this is coming from an insecure place, not trying to um, be like mean about it, but we have to really identify when these feelings happen, because if you are in a space where you're identifying competitors before you've even entered the space, like, oh, there's so many people doing it, how can I make a mark if they're already, doing so much or so successful? Like, you are already pinning yourself against that person or that company. And nobody wants that. Like, you identifying this company doing a cool thing does not take away from you doing the cool thing as well. Like I was saying before, your purpose is not going to be the same as theirs. Even if you have the same business model, the same end goal, you both want to, I don't know, like you both want to open a like car dealership. Your journey in it is going to be different than the next person's. Your employees and your ideas and your headspace, everything is yours and it's uniquely yours. And so when we immediately start saying things to ourselves like, oh, I don't want to do it because there's all these people doing it, like that is the theft of your gift. You are robbing yourself of your own gift and your own good idea before it's even had its chance on the market, right? And it is kind of a hard thing to conceptualize how you can get your like recognition and how you're going to get your name out there and all these things when you like don't know how to do that. But like I said last week or 2 weeks ago about alignment, like these things just kind of happen for you when you are willing to put the effort in. And one of the best quotes that I saw last week was like, stop treating your entrepreneurial endeavor like it's some side hustle. Like when we treat our endeavors like they're side hustles, we are making them less important than we actually feel that they are. If we are not claiming something until it's doing really well and getting the recognition that we want for it, we are not making it important. We are saying, I'm not secure enough to claim you until you're doing really well. Once you're doing well, you're mine. I did this. I'm the founder. I'm the everything, right? But if we, from day one, act like we have a really good thing going on, we know what we're doing, we, have thought this through, we have a good model of how we're going to do this, then your confidence in it becomes other people's confidence in it, right? So if I'm coming out here and doing like half-assed, like, oh yeah, you can support it if you want, like, come by, if you, it's no problem. Like, then people are going to be like, okay, I'm not coming. If she's going to like half-ass believe in it, why would I show up to support it and like be part of it if she doesn't even like believe in it? Whereas if you're like so gung-ho about it and you're like, you're not pressing your business on other people, but you're confident in it. You know your product or you know your service and you're very, very like adamant about saying like, I can do it. This thing tastes good. This thing operates well. Like I've done it before, whatever it is, the confidence that we have behind what we're doing, it emanates and it billows out of us onto others and they also feel what we feel. I've talked to my mom a lot about this cookie business that I started. Like now it's probably been like a month and it's not every day, of course. I have a crazy, ability to start all these random side hustles, but there's this concept when you don't live in New York City and you don't really know what the like street culture is like, where my mom will be like, she's like, it's not the quality that I'm speaking on, but it's like, I kind of can't believe that people just randomly will walk up to somebody on the street selling cookies and like trust to buy that. And she's like, I'm so happy they are and they should trust you. But it's like, first, someone that doesn't understand how many things are being sold on the street here, how many people are out here hustling that way, you don't really understand it. And I get that. I totally see like where she's coming from. And, instead of trying to explain it or whatever, I can just show her, like, look at how many people are selling fruit on the sidewalk. Or you go into the subway and there are people selling like churros or literally bags of candy, like anything, anywhere. As long as you can make some money, this is the hustling city. And people are very used to seeing little pop-ups, little businesses anywhere they go. And the other thing is that New Yorkers are very used to these things being good. It's not like, ew, there's like some, pretzel vendor that's had a pretzel on their stand for 4 days and I'm not touching that. That's not the vibe. And don't get me wrong, there are stands like that, right? But that is just like not the vibe. And, New Yorkers, I think, very much appreciate small business and they want to find the good things. They're not just trying to find like the biggest, most publicized businesses and that means that that's the best thing. Like there's an avenue for that. Don't get me wrong, especially when there's like good reviews or something is trendy, but in order to get trendy, everybody started somewhere. And there have been a lot of days where I've sat down and said to myself, in order for me to do this cookie thing right, I'm going to need to invest a lot in this. I'm going to need to invest thought. I'm going to need to invest time, money. And like, do I want to do this? I have to also like come up with, I started this thing where I'm doing a new flavor every week. So I have to like be innovative. There's a lot of things that go into this, and you're making choices to continue to do that. You're making choices. You're making choices to sit outside and sell the cookies. You're making choices all the time. And I do this podcast. I run Nectar Brand Therapy. Like I'm doing a lot of things at once. I'm also painting for clients. And what I'm realizing is over the last 2 years since I got laid off, I have not focused on purpose. I have tried so hard to get back to a space of alignment because I know what I like. I know what I want included in my life, but I don't want one thing. There are a lot of people that say to themselves, I have this business and I have this really good idea and I want to just like go for it. And like that is so amazing and so freeing for a lot of people. And it's it's clarity. But for someone like me, I don't want one thing. That makes me really nervous and makes me very I feel kind of trapped. If you hear me cough, no, you didn't. And so, as I'm building all of these things and finding all of these places where I could really, do something, I could really be out here and meeting people and all these things, why wouldn't I? If I can handle it, why wouldn't I? If the things at home are not falling apart, if I'm still able to cook for my dogs, if I'm still able to teach the classes, oh, also dog nutrition. If I'm able to keep up with everything, why would I not add more? Because a busy mind, especially for someone like me who's very high functioning, a busy mind is going to keep me working harder more often. I will make my hours in my day count more because they're precious. And over the last 2 years, I have craved this feeling. And that is really, really fulfilling for me because when you have almost nothing going on except for like taking care of your dependents or cleaning your house or whatever, just the normal sort of mundane things about life, you feel like your purpose is gone. You don't have a purpose. And when a human is disconnected from their purpose, really harsh and jarring emotions come in that we're maybe not that used to. If you've always had a job and you've always been like a hard worker and been recognized for your ethic, your work ethic, and you've put your all into it and dedicated a lot to having this reputation of being a hard worker, and then all of a sudden there's no boss telling you that, and all of a sudden there's no big project to do and there's no work on your desk, how do you wake up day one and what do you do with your time? Do you just sit on Instagram and doom scroll for 2 years? No, So as much as alignment is sort of a universal feeling, like everybody can feel the same flow from alignment, purpose is not that way. And purpose can sometimes be the thing that separates us from feeling worth it, feeling worthy, even just to ourselves. It's not towards the world sometimes, it's really just inward sometimes, and not. And, you know, empowering your good ideas is part of purpose, right? So there's like a couple ways to do entrepreneurship. Excuse me. One is like creating a product that doesn't exist on the market yet, right? So you're like pioneering this gap in the market to see how like well that product will do. So you know, like there's this company for dogs that makes this like, instead of a bowl for a dog, it has this like, it's called a fluff trough, and it's like this long thing where a dog can kind of eat, and it's like not, it's not so hard to like for short-nosed dogs. So all the brachycephalic breeds like Frenchies, they can't like put their face in a bowl like that. It's just like an awkward angle and all messy. And there wasn't anything on the market that existed where they can have this long like surface area to eat from, and it's just so much better for them. This woman created this product for the market. It didn't exist, and it absolutely did amazingly, right? So she became so successful with this one product because it was missing from the market and people needed it, right? I have this family friend who years and years and years ago, before silicone molds for like ice and things like blew up, he created this like mold essentially for a round ice cube that would be for like cocktails. So it's like, think of in like a very fancy bars when you get that giant square block of ice for like a glass of scotch. He created as a round ice cube, and it did really well. He did, you know, he was very successful with it. So there's no dumb ideas. If you can find an idea in your brain that makes good enough sense, and there's a market for this thing that will find you once you've done the work, go for it. There's no stupid ideas if you can, you know, see it sort of flourishing, if you believe in it, which is what the flourishing is. And no matter how small it is, no matter how dumb it might sound, no matter how like, yeah, like small, I guess is really just the most appropriate word. Do it. Just see how it goes and believe in it. And your market will find you. It just will. There's the, like, it's almost like you create the energy that you bring back in. So if you are believing in this thing and you are outside telling people about it and giving people samples and letting people experience it for themselves, going to bars, giving the silicone mold, like doing whatever and getting yourself out there, you will start to get the feedback, because people need products that are good, that work for their business, that will improve sales or improve, you know, the aesthetic, anything, right? So I think that, okay, so that's the one like way of entrepreneurship. The other one is doing something that a lot of people have already done, but doing it your way, right? So like the market is flooded, and why would I do this thing? 100,000 million billion trillion people are doing it already. Why would I enter the market? And again, like I was saying before, this is a kind of thinking process to hold you back. Like if that was how I thought, we would never be here on this podcast. I would never have done literally half the things that I've done. You have to understand that no one's in competition with you. No one is saying, I'm gonna have a podcast that's better than Lucy's podcast, and that's my goal. Like, if someone does feel that way, like let them. That has nothing to do with you. And it's also telling you that they feel you have value and they want to have more value than you. So you can't think like that. You can't think that the market is saturated. Why would I try? Because that is literally the reason to try. We should all be doing what we're called to do. And again, like pioneering something, no matter if it's a product, a service, it doesn't matter. Just pioneer the thing that is your purpose, and it will truly, truly pay you back, you know, in all the ways that you wanted to. And I am very excited lately about this cookie business of mine because it's sort of proving all of my points. I have been sitting outside about 2 to 3 days a week selling cookies, and for the past 2 weeks, I've done like a weekly flavor. So it's like different every week. And then I also have my two classic flavors. And all of these entrepreneurial endeavors are going to show you the things that I'm literally talking about. And it's just very validating because I have personally felt a lot of the things that I've been talking about. Like, sure, I don't have employees yet, so I can't really speak on that end, but like just within me, the amount of people that have come up to my table and given me feedback or done a taste test right on the spot, like bought a cookie, tried it, and gave me immediate feedback. Or I've had some very, very famous Instagram political influencers that just happened to be on my block that day and tried my cookie, or took a picture of me with the cookie and posted it on their account. Like, there's also been non-political, really big name influencers that have done the same thing. And you just don't realize what the universe is going to bring to you. Like, I had no idea I was going to meet some people that I follow on Instagram and have been looking at their content, reposting their content on Instagram, come up to my booth and buy from me. So let the universe be divine for you. Let the universe give you the things that you didn't even know you wanted. The only thing that you have to do in order to get those things is to be living in your purpose. Be brave enough. I know we talked about bravery last episode a lot, but be brave enough to explore your purpose. Be brave enough to make a mistake. If you go into one thing and you don't like it, or it doesn't feel like your purpose, you'll get those signs pretty fast and you'll be able to pivot. But really just staying, ear to the ground on your own feelings, your intuition. Does this feel right? Do I like this? Is this sustainable? They're going to guide you a lot and it's going to feel really good. I can't lie. Like, again, something that I kind of felt in the beginning was like a little bit silly. I'm like, there's a million bakers in the world. There's a million. And I'm already doing all these other things. Like, why would I add this thing that's going to take so much of my time? And then I'm like, I really like to be busy. I asked the universe to give me multiple blessings or like multiple forms of income or both, right? So like, what am I complaining for? Like, this is what I want. Okay, cool. Got it. And again, ever since then, people have been coming up to my table saying, you should do this and you should try this. And there's also been people that come up and say, like, I love what you're doing. When I first started out, I did the exact same thing as you. I just started with a table on the side of the street and sold my thing. And now the one guy was like, now I'm like renting a space from this bakery up the street and I'm selling like 100,000 bagels a year. Like, I'm doing so well. I feel so good. He's like, you have no idea how much you're going to grow from now into like a year from now, just even 1 year. It's like this magnet of people that understand that this is hard work, but if you like it enough, you will do it and you will get better every single day and you will get more inspiration every day. You will join this like captivating group of people that are entrepreneurs and had the bravery and the courage to do this shit, right? And to come together, in these ways, to not see yourselves as competitors, to support each other. There's been also people that come up to my booth, just like the gentleman with the bagels, saying like, oh, I'm a baker too. I also sell my things, but I would love to try what you bake. Yesterday I was selling and this gentleman came over to the table and he said, I have this sort of like lounge, a couple of neighborhoods away, and we are looking for some baked goods that we can sell to our customers because we have like coffee and drinks and things like that, but we don't have any baked goods and we would love to add that to our menu. I offered him a cookie. We spoke a little. We exchanged Instagrams. He said he was really interested. Like, you would never have understood that these things are even available to you until you're on the street, in person, meeting these people, being available, right? Like I've said a couple episodes back, like the human connection has been lost a little bit and we don't realize how magical that is. So if someone's just in line for the UPS store to like return something or mail something or pick something up, and they see you, and now all of a sudden you're talking, all of a sudden you two are conversing about whatever it is, like that is so special. That's so special, so special. And the things that the people are going to say to you are really dope. I have not had one person come up to my table with anything negative. I have a big smile on my face. I'm not on my phone. I'm ready to interact. And I think that again speaks a lot for what people bring to me. Some people come over to my table and they sort of, break the silence by saying something like, "Can I buy a cookie?" And I'm like, "You absolutely can. What would you like?" Just being bright and sunny and asserting this welcoming vibe makes people very sure that they've made the right choice or that they feel safe with you. It doesn't matter if it's for 2 seconds. It doesn't matter if they're going to follow you later. It doesn't matter if they're going to come back as a repeat customer. It doesn't matter if it's for 2 seconds. If you harbor a space that's human, that's normal, you have no idea how far that can get you. And it's just such a beautiful thing to see because I've talked about it a lot. I've felt it a lot in my life. I've been one of these people that I don't even know why, but a lot of people just like randomly come up to me and talk to me. And this has given people sort of like a reason to talk more, right? And I just find that to be so beautiful and so rewarding. Because things like this are very rewarding. Don't get me wrong. I've loved this podcast, but it's one-sided, right? Until the comments come in or until someone talks to me about it outside of this, I'm talking to myself, right? I mean, I'm talking to you guys, but I'm talking to myself as it recorded and right. So it's been really wonderful to have the human interactions, the feedback, the love, the repeat customers, just beautiful to see my community really show up for me. And I just like didn't know, right? And I sit outside on my stoop a lot with my dogs in the morning time. And I just like kind of watch life pass for about 40 minutes after our little morning walk. And they love to just lay with me and see people too. And we see some of our friends and the UPS store employees and, people that live around us. And this is more exposure than that. This is more interactions. And for that, I'm just like very grateful. I'm not like right there with the UPS store, but we're in the vicinity. And that just feels very, very special to me that I don't have to go far and I can, make this my own. And there's been a lot of people that have said to me like, "Oh, well, you should go get into farmers markets or you should go get into like this food thing." And for me, like I really love that for other people. And I love the journeys that would bring those people to, farmers markets or the food, sort of like the outdoor food days, the events. But there's this very unique thing in New York. I think there's a good amount of cities that would agree with this model, but the New Yorker really likes this like treasure hunt, right? So if you have a brick and mortar location, you're there. Like everybody knows where to find you, even if it's trendy, like you're there, you're easy to find, you're on the map, you have normal business hours. But then when you're trying to start out and you're trying to get this buzz about you, maybe you can pop up here and maybe you can pop up there. And maybe it's a different day of the week here and a different day of the week there. And maybe you're getting customers that wouldn't come to this UPS store because they have another UPS store that they go to, or just like whatever, you're dabbling in all these other places. And that's really cool. People want to know like where you are and what you're up to today and what flavors you have that day and stuff. So I am much more interested in, for myself, right, having this like treasure hunt vibe to me. And it's already proven to be a successful thing. People really like that. And they'll ask me like, "What days are you here and what times and when can I catch you again?" And that's my journey, right? That might not be somebody else's journey. Some people have come up to me and said like, "Do you have a brick and mortar location or do you want one? Are you looking to get this to a place where you're able to have a store location. And I'm like, no, I'm really not. This is fun and it's really rewarding, and I'm putting my all into these cookies because I really like this, but I that's just not my journey. I like to be a little spontaneous and a little bit, I don't want the massive sort of burden of maintaining a location somewhere, especially in New York, right? And even one of my neighbors came up to me and said that she would help me get my cookies into some cafes around because she's lived on the block for like almost her whole life and she knows these people. So again, the wheels are turning, things are turning, and I didn't go seek any of this. It's just people are like, wow, your cookie's really good. Wow, you're a really nice person. Wow, you should do this and I'll help you. And again, these are the things that you don't know what you don't know when you're first starting out. So if the only thing I did was make sure my product was good, make sure that people liked it, not just me, but people liked it, and then put myself out into the world where people could find me and agree with that concept, that's all I needed to do, and the rest would come to me, right? That is all I have to do. And sometimes for some people in their endeavors, they need like a physical location. Like if you're opening a car dealership, if you're opening something really big where you have merchandise, but you don't always have to. If you're selling the fluff troughs, or if you're selling the silicone molds for ice, you don't have to have a physical location. You can do it all online. So there's all these ways that you can put yourself out there. There's no one track and there's no one way. And what you feel is right for you is not wrong just because somebody else is like, well, I don't think you should do it that way. And you should, come over here and do it this way. Like, no, you should follow what you want and what you believe is right for your own business. And nobody else can really know that. So just be careful of who is giving you advice and what advice you're taking, because people can be well-intended, but they can also pull you from what's right for you. And that is your purpose. And again, because purpose is so unique and individual, they are not going to know your purpose. They don't know your purpose. They're going to maybe overcalculate, and you don't want that. It's going to pull you away from things more than you want it to, and that's going to just take more time. So the other thing is, there are going to be people that give you ideas that you don't want to do, just like I was just saying. And like, for example, someone came up to my table and said, do you sell cookies that don't have sugar in them? Like, do you sell cookies that have maybe maple syrup or what else did you say? Honey or like molasses? And I said no, and that, that's definitely something that I should think about, because there are a lot of people that like don't do well with refined sugars. Someone else came up to me and said, do you do vegan? Do you do gluten-free? Again, those are things that I could think about as well if I wanted to expand. And so my point of bringing this up is that people can give you advice, people can give you feedback, and you can just store it in the bank and be really nice. Like, oh yeah, no, that's a great idea. Yeah, I never even thought about that. Thank you so much for giving me the feedback. I really appreciate it. And you're leaving him or her with good feedback. Even if that's not a way that you want your business to go, you're still grateful that someone is taking time out of their day to come over to you and tell you, I would support your business if you were able to do this, this, and this, or I would be able to buy these cookies if it met my dietary needs. And those are definitely things to keep in mind. Someone even said to me, if you do gluten-free, you'll make a killing over here, because none of the bakeries around here or the cafes, the coffee shops, none of them really do gluten-free. So if you were to do that, you could charge more for your cookies and you could make a killing. And that's wonderful to know. Because I'm not gluten-free, I didn't know that. So if that's ever a direction I want to go, now I know that. And it's market research. It's people coming up to you and feeling comfortable enough to share these things with you, and that's information. There's never a bad time for information, and it's just always something that is really good to know. And yeah, I just can't I can't dwell hard enough on how much your community can show up for you. And some people that have come up to my table have said to me, like, how long have you been here? Or how long have you lived in the neighborhood? And you'll say things like 5 years, 6 years, and they're like, oh wow, like I grew up right over there on the other block, one block over for my whole life. I've never even seen you before. And you're like, really good to meet you, you know? And immediately community has been made. It's not, you know, this concept where like you could live next door to somebody for all this time and you never even know them. One of the things I love about Brooklyn that makes it so that I would never ever live in Manhattan or the city is the community. And like I have a friend that lives in the 50s in Manhattan, and I asked her the last time I was at her house, I asked her if she knew her neighbors, even on her floor, 'cause she has this huge, massive building. And she was like, nope, nope, not even one of them. Nope. We say hi in the hallway. We're nice. We're cordial, but I don't know any of them. And there's no shade. If that's what you feel, if that's what you want, like, there's no reason for me to hate on that. But like, I never want that. That to me is completely useless. I want people that remember my face, that remember my dogs, that remember who I am, because if there's ever a situation, they're gonna step in or they're gonna say something or they're gonna, and it's happened. You know how many people have stepped in and like protected me in little situations? I have done it so many times for other people in my community. Being a part of a community is so reassuring because there's so much a community can give back to you. And entrepreneurship is putting something in a community and asking them to support you, even if it's a mutually beneficial thing, as it should be, right? You're giving them a service or a product, they're paying you for that product. You're both giving something to each other and you're both benefiting. And the community that you pop up in is the closest proximity to you, and they are going to be the ones that show you the love, show you the most love sometimes. You know, if it's like an online business, things can change obviously, but if you're there in the place and you're asking the community to come show love, you better be showing it back and you better want to be part of that community, because otherwise you're a fish out of water. People are going to walk right by your location. They're not going to want to, you know, come and sort of try what you got going on or see what's up. There's been a couple girls that have walked by my table lately and been like, I've seen you out here like a couple of times, and you know, you would just caught me at times that I wasn't really in the mood for a sweet treat, but like now I am, and I can't wait to support you. And that's beautiful. I am the last person on earth to be like, you want a cookie? Hey, you want a cookie? No way. If you come up to my table, love. If you don't, that's totally fine. If you want to come up to my table and look at everything I got going on and keep walking, that's fine. I will never pressure. I will never beg somebody. That's my vibe. Like, you're safe here. I'm not going to do anything weird. I'm not going to pressure you. You don't have to look away the second I look at you, you know? And so asserting vibes like that can really help you to interact with people the way you want. But anyway, so nobody is going to love you as much as the random person on the street from your community, or like a random person on Instagram or online, as much sometimes as your like loved ones. And don't let that be bad. That is actually really beautiful and really cool, because love is just love. You know, the people that we love, we expect things from. We expect you to support us. We expect you to pull up for us. But like sometimes that doesn't happen, and that's okay, because there are so many people online or like random strangers that walk by that they will see you and they will stop and they will say something or buy something or give you love. And let that be enough, right? You being whole on your own, having a good idea, being out on the streets, putting your idea out there, and have a random stranger come and make your day. Because I cannot tell you how good it feels to be recognized in a way that it's not like, oh, I've known that person for 10 years and I really hope that they come support my business. And then when they don't, you kind of have this feeling of like, damn, man, like I supported the last 4 things this person did. They can't even come buy a $4 cookie. Forget that. What about the random person that came up to came up to your table with her boyfriend, bought a cookie each, got in their car right in front of you, both bit the cookie. The girl gets back out of the car, comes up to the table again, while somebody else came up to the table trying to buy cookies. The first girl goes, "Oh my God, your cookies are so good. I need 4 more." Then influenced the second girl that came up to buy more than she was gonna buy. It's this billowing love, okay? Strangers, strangers, strangers. And embrace it all. It's coming to you if you're brave enough to find this. It's coming to you if you put yourself out there and you align with your purpose. And I hope you all find your alignment, your purpose, what makes you happy. And I'm wishing you all of the success if you get to these places. If you need any help with these things, again, I run a company called Nectar Brand Therapy. You can reach out to me here if you want. And I would love to help you out. And if this is something that, rings true for you or is applicable to your life, welcome. I will talk to you again next week. And thank you so much for being here. Love to all of you guys.